Many people had died in our struggle. We had suffered pain and misery in the struggle. And then on the eve of the victory, the leader of our struggle looks the world in the face and says that our victory is useless. That our victory is useless unless it is linked to the total liberation of the African continent. Comrades and friends, I'm supposed to start a discussion on Pan-Africanism and end up in a conjecture. Comrades and friends, many years ago, hundreds of years ago, some people who were not on the African continent, some people who lived in Europe, decided to convene a meeting in Bonn, Germany. And they sat around a very long table. They put the map of Africa in front of them, and they drew out pencils like swords and began to divide Africa into what has become African countries today. That exercise was clearly not in the influence of the African people. That exercise was not dictated by the African people. That exercise was for the European powers at that time to divide our continent into their spheres of influence. Comrades, it's important sometimes to look at the current situation of Africa. I come from Ghana in West Africa, and we share borders with 3 other countries. And what happens on all of our borders clearly indicates the harm that colonial exploitation has done to the African people. If you go to the Ghana-Togo border, you will find one house. The kitchen is in Ghana and the bathroom is in Togo. Clearly indicating that those who drew the maps did not take our interest into consideration. If you go on the border with La Côte d'Ivoire, you find one ethnic group, the Nzima people. Their chief lives in Ghana, the population lives in La Côte d'Ivoire. This is the legacy of the exploitative madness of the European powers. This is the legacy which today imposes many problems on the African people. In 1452, the Pope, the head of the Catholic Church, signed an agreement with King Alfonso of Portugal, the King of Portugal. What was the content of this agreement? The Pope authorized King Alfonso to send missions around the world, especially in Africa, to spread Christianity, and that those who refuse to accept Christianity should be killed, executed. Their properties should be seized, and their properties included their wives, and so on. This set the tone for the madness which today has resulted in the impoverishment of the African people and the underdevelopment of many parts of the world. And it's important to note that sanctimonious religion today, which pretends to be so sanctimonious, is at the bottom of this journey of exploitation, which began with the papal bull signed by the Pope, and which gave this authority to King Alfonso of Portugal. That is one mark we should keep in mind. The other landmark we should keep in mind is that it is our labor, which led to the accumulation of capital, leading to the development of capitalism in the United States of America, Britain, everywhere. It is us who were used as beasts of burden to produce the cotton, to work the sugarcane fields, to design their houses and so on, we developed the basis of capitalism today. Our exploitation served as the basis for capitalism today. Now, comrades and friends, all of this, our exploitation, our oppression, our dehumanization and so on, led to intense struggle. Our people resisted those who came to capture us as beasts of burden, as slaves. We fought wars, but we lost. And we didn't lose because we were inferior. We lost because we were concentrating on the development of agriculture. We were concentrating on the development of architecture. We were concentrating on how to live in harmony with our environment, when they were concentrating on developing weapons of destruction, on developing the rifle, on developing the gunpowder, and so on. So we did not lose because of our inferiority. We lost because of our very, very, very high standards of humanity. Now, we were captured as beasts of burden. We were shipped all over the world to work the fields in order to develop capital. But the resistance continued. And you all perhaps do know about the resistance which was led by Toussaint Louverture, who defeated the French army under one of the best generals of France, Napoleon Bonaparte, to establish the modern Republic of Haiti. You do know that Haiti was established by a slave, an escaped slave, African slave, who mobilized his forces, who fought the forces of France and defeated them in battle to establish the modern Republic of Haiti. So we fought. That resistance found expression in many forms. There was the Back to Africa movement, which had been supported by Marcus Garvey and others. There were those who believed that we should come back to Africa and develop Africa and so on. There were those who believed in staying in the United States, in staying in the Caribbean, in being accepted as citizens of the world so that we could contribute to build new civilizations and so on. There was the anti-racist battles. And you know, today, in modern times, some of those who have contributed significantly to this anti-racist battles. So many names. The Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and several others. So these battles have been going on broadly at some point under the banner of the Pan-African movement, Pan-Africanism. It was in 1945 that the leaders of the Pan-African movement worldwide decided to call a congress in Manchester, the United Kingdom. At the end of their deliberations, the Pan-Africanists then decided that the way forward laid in a vigorous struggle against colonialism. It laid in the waging of a national liberation struggle. And after the defeat of colonialism, we needed to unite Africa under the banner of scientific socialism. So for those of us who are on the left and who believe in Pan-Africanism, the resolution of the Manchester Conference served as our blueprint for our march forward into freedom and prosperity. Now, comrades and friends, from 1945 to 1951, the Pan-African movement concentrated its efforts on the liberation of Ghana from the yoke of colonialism. And in 1951, we scored our first major victory in the struggle for independence. Ghana under Kwesi Nkrumah became partially independent. That struggle continued until on March 6, 1957, Ghana became also partially independent, and Ghana became a republic in 1960, 1st July 1960. It is significant to note that Ghana under Nkrumah became the vanguard of the independence struggle, not just in Ghana, but throughout the world. And it is significant also to recall that on the eve of independence, Kwame Nkrumah declared that the independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked with the total liberation of the African continent. That is a significant internationalist proclamation. Very significant internationalist proclamation. Many people had died in our struggle. We had suffered pain and misery in the struggle. And then on the eve of the victory, the leader of our struggle looks the world in the face and says that our victory is useless. That our victory is useless unless it is linked to the total liberation of the African continent. Indeed, Kwame Nkrumah has been described as a visionary, but I think that he's more than a visionary.